What is up, creators? Happy Friday. How long have you been waiting to hear those words uttered from thine own mouth? Did you wake up with a spirit, a little tingle in your soul because you say, you know what? It's the last day I'm going to have to deal with them daggone co-workers. For those of you that sneak and watch the Friday Live Helpcasts when you should be at work, kudos to you. I used to do the same thing. I have no shade whatsoever about that at all. Welcome to the Friday Live Helpcast with me, your hostess, the mostess, Diana Gladney. We have more amazing news. More amazing news. You know you're excited when you do the finger thing. You know, there's a few things that show me when we used to make fun of adults and be like, I remember my cousin, my cousins used to come over, barbecue and stuff like that. And I remember asking her, I was like, how old are you? And she's like, I'm 30. And I was like, oh, you old. Now I'm past that. And I'm like, well, I'm still in my 30s, but. And I was like, and then you see them do certain things. You're like, man, that's so lame, so whack. Had all your sayings that proved you were hip. And now you lack said sayings and gestures. And I'm doing this. This is a clear sign. Aging is upon me. Okay. Doing this. Okay. Excited. I use all of the corny words. Been doing that for a long time. So that's no excuse. So that's a pass. Number two. You get excited about appliances. You get excited about brand new dishwasher, new pot set. Okay, can I get an amen in the chat? Where are you? What are some of the older things that you do that prove to you that aging is upon you? We're here for the Friday Live Helpcast. If you have questions, make sure you put a Q with a colon, the 2 dots, and then ask your question. We're going to be rolling through this week. More amazing news, but coming up to a theater near you in just a second after we say hello to some fam in the chat. I'm excited. I got some good freaking news, y'all. I really do. But let's say what's up. What's going on, Sam? Good to see you, Sam_757. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Welcome to the Friday Live Helpcast. We got Todd, Christmas Clatter. The season is upon us, Todd. The season is upon us. Just you wait until next Friday. Just you wait till next Friday. The Christmas season is upon us, my friend. What's going on, press? So it's Drew. Hope all is well, my friend. Good to see you, Andrew. Glad that you're here. Shout out to Press and So. I will be messaging you immediately following the stream, Brother Drew. So just know we gonna hook up. For those of you that don't know, Press and So is the amazing company that handles the merch for my channel. In addition to Doc Rock, other fellow creators, a lot of us, we use Press and So. We don't use whatever that Babbage is that YouTube has on the back end. Okay, we support local, wherever they're locally located. We support local that way. And then we support Black businesses around these streets. So shout out to Sylvia and Andrew Nixon, an incredible power duo over at Press and So. And they also handle the merch for Ecamm Live. So shout out to Press and So. Good, happy Friday to you, Gretchen. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Brother Luis, you too also shall be hearing from me after said stream today. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Tell Prince Aiden we said, what does it does? Good to see you. Said a few weeks ago, you helped. Hold on, let me increase this because, you know, might need a new update on the glasses. Said a few weeks ago, help with my choice. I'm going to get a ZV-E10. And one question I have about it is, does the zoom rocker on the camera only work with PZ lenses or does it work with all lenses? That's a really great question. The zoom rocker, which what he is referring to, and we straighten up our desk a little bit, allegedly. I'm going to zoom in for effect here. All right. This is what he's talking about. This is the zoom rocker on the ZV-E10. Turn it this way for you. Okay? You can move it, zoom in and out, and all of that. That is not available. Well, it's not limited to, let me correct that. It's not limited to just the PZ or power zoom lenses, which means that if you have the 18-105 f4 Sony lens, it will zoom in out electronically, or like the kit lens, which most people have that. If you don't get a kit lens with your camera, I recommend that you do, because at some point, perhaps you may want to sell it or sell a camera that you have, and just having a kit lens to package with it makes your price increase when you're selling it as a package. Even though you figure like the kit lens pointless, it's not. It's actually like a lot of good value about it. I'm probably gonna do a video about that. People be throwing shade on the kit lens, and you ought not. The thing is, though, it's great. And that will work with that. However, it will also work with lenses like the Sigma 16. I use it probably the most with the Sigma 16. So it will work on any lens. Third party, Sony based lens, power zoom, no power zoom, prime lens, zoom lens, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter what focal length that you're at either, it will work with that as well. So if you are on that kit lens, or let's say you get the 17 to 28 by Tamron lens, it's a f2.8 lens, you can zoom in anywhere from 17 to 28 manually. And let's say you stop at, I don't know, 20 millimeters roughly. You still can use the clear image zoom on your Sony ZV-E10 or any Sony camera. You can still use the clear image zoom so that you can leverage that. So it's like zooming in on the sensor instead of like a digital crop, like you would kind of pinch to zoom on your phone. It's a little different with the pinch to zoom on phones now, which makes things interesting. But just to answer your question there. So delivering mail and listening, I'll be working tomorrow too, but I'm still glad it's Friday. You know, I appreciate you, brother, first of all. Okay, shout out to you, because the mail carriers and deliverers of the world help keep the ball moving. The fact that you can get packages so fast, like I remember, again, aging symbol. I need a little chime. Aging symbol. I remember when you go to a company like Walmart or something online, and you would see, and again, this is like early 2000s, like early internet days, like where it took forever to get to a website and companies are getting websites. It would be like guaranteed 2 weeks, and that was seen as fast. Get your product in 2 weeks. And you're talking about US to US, state to state. You could send grandma a letter and it would get there faster than whatever you ordered from somebody, or even just actually mailed in the mail card to get products and stuff. So shout out to the carriers of the world. We appreciate you. Saying, I asked for a space heater for Christmas. I'm old. I got one going right now. Okay. Best gift of the season. That's why I said, you know, you're getting chimes for the getting old, because you just want, like, let me get, I want one of those blankets where maybe it's closed in, it's boxed in on the feet, or just like, you know, I lost the lid to my good pot. I need a good, need a new good pot set. It's little stuff like that. It's like, I used to see my aunties and my mom and stuff go crazy over just like simple appliances, or I would think like, who cares about a dryer? It's like, we had one before, but you don't know until you know. So it makes a big deal. Saying, I'm excited about a good dustpan. I do have a story for that. My dustpan passed away and I just wouldn't let it die. And so eventually it got replaced. And I'm just like, I'm not, you know, get a little piece of tape. It's just a small crack turned into a big crack. And I'm like, what are you doing? Just get a new dustpan. But it's one of those things you just pass over all the time. So a dustpan is a worthy investment. If y'all don't know how to get gifts for people, this is how, okay? Or just a gift card, or maybe not even gift card, just the money. Embrace the pro-aging term. Indeed I do. It is amazing. Saying, I have an Hotmail email address. So about Hotmail, I would, that's still okay. There is some signs there, aging chimes, but it's okay, because at least it's not AOL. Now who's telling on themselves if they use AOL? I don't, but I'm just saying. And I'm looking forward to it. All right, brother, good to see you. Glad you're saying the door is kicked in. What is up, Marine X? Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Guys, if you have any questions, put Q in a colon. Obviously, we're just being a little silly with answering the aging questions. If you missed the beginning of the stream where you're watching on the replay, I'm going to have to get a little chime like they used to have on a Back to Future. That's what kind of chime we need. 2 fingers means we're aging symbol. Not that it's my birthday. I don't care about getting older, but just some things that I notice when every new holiday season, it's like, man, I'd love a new ceramic pot set, or man, I'd love a new, it's like I need a new blender. Silly stuff. Consumer Reports. Yeah. That's how you know you get old. How you know you get old. You care about the things, man. Saying, I still use the kit lens with my ZV-E10. You know, the thing is it's most interesting about like the ZV-E10 or any of those kind of cameras or whatever, is the fact that you have a sensor that's not crippled like some other brands where I can't remember the exact terminology, but it used to be like kind of like this filter over it, for instance, that would kind of help with the, I can't think of it. I haven't had enough coffee, but I can't remember of it. But it would, if you had like patterns, like this sweater has some patterns in it. If you had really, and it's like right on the tip of my tongue and brain, but if you had tightly woven patterns in a shirt or something like that, then you would see it on your camera. And so it would be like this filter. Most commonly, I remember around this time, circa 2016, 17, that would kind of help with that. And so moire, that's what it is, moire. And so I remember thinking like something was on my shirt or wrong when I was early into video. But I was thinking like maybe it's just the kit lens is bad or whatever. But to be honest, now you have a sensor that's not crippled with like even as something, a camera as simple as a Sony ZV-10. This camera will never not be a favorite camera of mine. It just won't. It's for similar reasons like why I love like the Canon M6 original from back in the day. It just did so many things right. And even like the Canon M3, much older camera that didn't have any specs to speak of. It just solved a lot of problems for me at the time. But the ZV-10 will never not be a great camera. I don't care if it's like 4 years from now, honestly. If people are still gonna be like, is ZV-10 still great in 2073? It's like, yeah, it probably doesn't work then, but but yeah, it's interesting because you use a kit lens, but a camera is the sensor's not crippled, so quality is gonna be fine. I've shot plenty of videos in the office with a kit lens. Nobody complained. Nobody noticed. You know, as long as the quality's there, nobody cares. Most pro tip for you that are doing videos, trying to use find a camera for a top-down shot. I can understand for some people, like, it doesn't make sense to get like a ZV-10 or maybe even a ZV-1. I believe, matter of fact, you know what? Not even I believe, I already know. Sony's dropping some prices on some gear. Me being in cahoots with the company, I have said details that I'll be bringing up for you, and some deals that they made mention of that they did state would not be under embargo, so I can share it with the Video Simplified family. So I'll be bringing those up for you in just a second. But there are some deals and stuff that's coming for the holiday season, and so if you're looking to buy a camera now, this is probably going to be on their website. However, with the price matching that you usually can either ask on websites like Best Buy, you can see other companies making shifts like Amazon. They'll see if everybody else is at a different price, then you can kind of get them to price match for certain things, or even like Best Buy to say like, this is listed over here for cheaper, so can I get it for that? And they'll be like, yeah. Or certain camera stores and stuff, just ask if they price match for this holiday season. But I'll be sharing that with you for a minute. So this, I don't want to cover the ZV, what is it? Not ZV, ZR5 Alpha 7 R5. But they do have some holiday deals that's coming to other cameras, which suggests to me that my initial predictions around this summer, when we got the lenses for Sony, the new trio of primes, that I'm like, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense because we didn't know about the FX30 at the time. There was no real leaks around it that made it seem legit, or even we didn't even have any rumors really. And so when the FX30 came out, it's like, okay, now it makes sense, and it would make sense for us to get some A6600 replacement camera. We need a good hybrid APS-C camera. We need a ZV-E10 Mark II, like that improves on some of the things. They're probably going to make some more entry-level stuff. I just hope nothing like the ZV-1F, which is not a great camera in my opinion. So there you have it. Question: how does the new Stream Deck Plus make you feel? I have the Stream Deck Mini for my desk streams, but my man cave table needs more buttons. Do you think the knobs are a fluke? So for those of you that don't know, and I did see that, and I do have some thoughts on it coming to a theater near you, that is actually not bad. because they recognize how much the Loop Deck Live, which is what I use, that has buttons, the knobs like actual dials, and I'll pull it up to show you all the difference. Again, I love Elgato. They are a brilliant company. They do a lot of things right. And so this introduction of this device here makes it very interesting. Let's switch on over to this side of the streets. Are we zoomed in? You know what? I think I was doing that for another training or something. So this is the Stream Deck Plus that just came out. So you have kind of like this heads-up display bar that you can probably customize, I would imagine. So a few buttons here, and then these physical dials. These are the almost exact same kind of dials. I don't know if you can press them. For $199, this is nothing but them recognizing the value that the Loop Deck Live has. And we've done some videos on the Loop Deck Live covering that and just how we use it even with Ecamm Live. But the value is there. The value's been there. And I thought initially, it seemed kind of gimmicky, honestly. It's like the dials or the buttons. I'm like, why everything's digital? Or, wouldn't it just be better if you had the Stream Deck? And I'm like, well, let me see. So Loop Deck did initially send me my device. And I'm like, well, let me see. And then I'm like, oh, this is way more functional than what you think. Now, I don't know if it'll be to the extreme functionality as the Loop Deck Live, and it's no shade to it, I just don't know. But so I can see, I don't know if those are pressable, but if it's just even that you could turn them. So for example, right now doing the stream, I could turn up the music because I have the dial. This also makes it easy when I want to slightly and progressively fade the stream down, like if I'm doing a training or something like that. And I'm wanting to have the audio start loud, and then I want to decrease it down some. So there's real life applications that actually make this very applicable. Because I have such a fantastic system with the Loop Deck Live, I'm not jealous at all, because I've already had the goods and been recommending the goods for quite some time. The Loop Deck Live is amazing. I'm not discounting that. If you have probably some Elgato key lights, you have the Elgato ecosystem of tools, that probably is going to be a great buy in addition to using their other stuff. Now, the Loop Deck Live is kind of like a mix of a little bit of both. So when you go over here to the Loop Deck Live, what you'll notice is you have buttons at the bottom here. Now, this is great for the pages. It is a little bit more expensive, but you do get, in my opinion, a bit more functionality. And again, that's just my opinion. So you take it or leave it, because creatively, we all kind of work differently. But in my area of business and what I do, teaching, training, creating videos, creating micro content, and that could be at the desk or whatever, mostly at the desk over here, this system works way more efficiently for me. So not only can I have the volume and the like to control this, but I also have the buttons for pages. And so what the pages kind of system works with is like, if I'm saying I press one button when I'm ready to do like the live recording of the podcast, or even if I'm doing a recorded version of the podcast. So I can switch from my live stream setup and those system of buttons and tools and customizations to switch to a different button that now shows maybe the stuff for, like I said, the podcast. I can have another button, which I do have these buttons, that one would control a setup for, let's say, the community. If I'm doing like an update video, we're talking about some stuff in the community this week, doing an update video. So I can easily switch from system to system or page to page if I'm doing like a lot of things, even with Ecamm. And I just need a series and succession of buttons and customizations. So I'm not mad at what the this new Stream Deck device is doing. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome because having that is going to be way more interesting this next year, because you get to be more efficient. And I think efficiency is honestly what saves content creators a lot, because if you are ever putting together anything, oh, they got the buttons. Okay, well, just kind of like Giphy, but whatever. But, it's cool. And again, for those of you, if you're not a streamer, you're not a gamer, that's fine. I stream now, personally myself, I stream once a week. Been doing the Sunday podcast live That's the only time really I'm live on, like me initiating the live stream or whatever. I don't stream as much as I used to, like in 2020 and 2021. Me initiating a stream, kicking it off. So it has nothing to do with the streaming aspects, but in your regular content creation workflow, I even have like macros and buttons and stuff set up. So when it's time for me to get started working for the day, there's a series of web pages that I need to open up in order for me to work with my team. It's usually Asana, it's usually Slack, and it may be like certain emails or whatever. All of that, I can press and assign all of those websites to one button. Everything opens up, and I can just get started working. I don't have to go and click and do all a bunch of stuff. So when you step outside of the perspective that, oh, I'm live streaming, yeah, live streaming is one aspect of probably what you're doing creatively. I use this for a lot of stuff. When it comes down to accounting, I have like you need to upload, like let's say your receipts, and you just paid for something or whatever, you get your digital receipts. Okay, I'm uploading that stuff to Dropbox, and then I'm uploading it once the thing shows in my system so I can attach the receipt. Okay, I have a system of buttons that's set for that. So if you are able to use this new device like this, I think that'll be fantastic. I think it'll be super helpful for a lot of people. So am I jealous? No, I already have the goods. Matter of fact, I have something better. It's called the Loop Deck Live, but this is great. And I say better because it's just better for me. But I have the Loop Deck Live, but I think this is awesome. I really do. I think this is awesome. Play sound from your sound bar, especially if you have the ecosystem for this. I think it's awesome. For me personally, though, I just get better bang for my buck over here just because I can do some of anything that I want to do. If y'all want more details on that in this stream, not in a future video, but in this stream, let me know, ask your questions. All right. But no, I think it's great. I also think the Loop Deck Live is better. Saying, sweet. I'm planning on getting the ZV-10 with the 18-200 LE lens. Nice. Well, kudos to you. Good luck on your purchase. Congrats. Saying your favorite pillow is a heating pad. Is that how it is for you, Gretchen? You just ball it up. It's no cool side of the pillows ever. You just nice and comfy during the wintertime. I can understand that. I can understand that. Said I'm at that age where all I want for Christmas is a cordless vacuum. Shout out for the cordless vacuums. For those of us that are aging out here in these streets, we got different Christmas lists. All right. We want organization systems. We want file cabinets. We want a better desk. Okay. We want some cameras and stuff. Get us different things this holiday season. Gosh darn it. Should get us some books. Get us a book freaking thing or something, right? We got a super chat from Nick Taylor. Good to see you, Nate. Glad that you are in the building, brother. Saying I plan on getting the XL in the near future. Going to have to give the new deck a closer look. Hope all is well. Indeed it is, my good brother. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate that. Yeah, man. And that's the other thing. And I'm pretty sure they're probably going to optimize it. Elgato does a good job with this for making sure that you can use this in more ways than just, like I said, okay, little heads up display here. This lighting, cool. This is editing or whatever. Great. Stream controller, great. So they do plan on setting it that way. The only thing that I didn't care for with the Loop Deck Live system, which is why when I said the buttons here, like the numbered buttons, the reason why that made it better for me with the Loop Deck Live versus this is because I didn't have to embed a series of buttons behind a button. So I didn't have to maybe click this first button here. I didn't have to assign that button to be my live stream stuff and then everything comes up. I just already have a dedicated button that doesn't have to make me mismanage my space. And these are also physical buttons. The Loop Deck Live is a touchpad. And so that's a difference with between these two. So I think both of these devices, again, are fantastic. For me, though, like the editing and stuff, there are some things like when you're editing and you want to zoom in and out on your timeline just to like maybe for audio editing especially, you want to zoom in and really get that where you say with your mouth or something like that accidentally or something. You can go in and you maybe just want to keyframe that out, or maybe you want to, maybe just cut it. Maybe just cut it. And you just want to zoom into only that part so it's no real jarring motion in your videos, as far as your audio is concerned, just turning the knob real quick and then it just, boom, it's there, versus pinching if you're on a computer or using the scroll wheel or whatever you would do to do it. Now you just turn the knob. Super effective with Ecamm Live. I was sharing that last week about the Loop Deck Live, how this is just so much better for me with using Ecamm and creating my courses and stuff like that. I can just do it. It's amazing. So I don't doubt that this is going to be great as well. Like I said, my only thing was I did not care for how I had to embed a button or assign like a button to embed a system of the what I want. And then maybe that's another page and it opens up another page. It just makes it a little clunky for me personally. But as expected, down here, you can see where they have that system working with the other system, and it looks sweet. Not gonna lie, it looks sweet. So I think if you're in the Elgato, world, you like it. You can see it making sense to your system and your workflow. I think it's going to be a great investment. If your people don't know what to get you for the holidays, tell them to get this or get you the Loop Deck Live if you don't have either of these, because a lot of people do ask, like, what's the difference between the two? More buttons. I won't necessarily say more customizations, because I think they're kind of a little neck and neck, even like Elgato in some respects does it a little bit better. And I'm pretty heavy on the does it a little bit better over here with Elgato. I think they probably have more just because they've been in the space more. I just think they can do a little bit more though. Button-wise, efficiency-wise, for me personally, Loop Deck Live all day long. Loop Deck Live all day long. Seriously, it's amazing. So if you don't have something like that, little old people chime in here, tell your local loved ones to get this. They're going to say, well, what is a loop? Don't worry about it. Just click this in the text message and just do a wish list. How about that? Bring back wish lists. People just shop, buy your stuff. I remember back in the day, I said I was going to make a wedding registry. I'm like, oh, you getting married? I'm like, no, I just have stuff that I want. And now everybody loves wedding registry. You just buy the gifts and you don't think about it. So I figured, whenever I find another other half, I'm good. I have the things I want. You set yourself up with your own wish list, brother. Shoot. So I just ordered my first prime lens, the Sigma 16. Kudos to you. Congrats. You're going to love that. It's a little heavy. She's a little heavy, but she's worth it. Sigma 16 is an amazing lens, and looking forward to low light testing. The kit lens is great, though. When it comes to the low light conversations and stuff, when it comes to just like creating content and stuff, I mean, like, I don't see much value in it anymore, like of what it used to be, because cameras used to be really busy. They used to be really active and poor, the cheaper that it was. And we just don't have that anymore. The A6400 is a phenomenal camera that does great. Any of these Sony cameras, you already have a camera that does great in low light. Now, how much light can get to that sensor is going to be indicative to the lens that you use. But, I mean, you're not going to have any issues. I've seen some beautiful astrophotography shot on the ZV-E10 and other cameras that use that sensor, like the A6600, A6400, A6300, A6500, A6100, A6000. I mean, we have a lineup of proven sensors. That's the only thing with this age of this sensor, which the next iteration of the ZV-E10, Sony, can we please have that new FX30 sensor or its cute cousin or something? Can we get something like that, please? We will be very happy over here in these digital streets if you do. But the one thing that the longevity of this sensor has proved is quality. It's quality. So that's my 2 cents. Getting off my rocker, saying, what's the best camera cleaning kit? I would say one that you comprise of the things that you need. That's the one that's going to be best for you. Because everybody kind of does something different. I'm never for those buy everything kits and it just like has everything. Not that there aren't probably some great ones, but for me, for example, I would say like the best would be one that has a microfiber cloth. So I could just clean the back of the screen and stuff like that, since we're using that predominantly for video. It has my Zeiss lens wipes in there. It has a lens cloth that I could use it for that if I needed that, and it's mostly for my glasses. And that's the extent of it. I've never had to clean my sensor because it's always on or covered. I'm not in any kind of like environments. However, a perfect cleaning kit for a photographer, like an active photographer that's the NASCAR or something, or shooting people in a freaking Sahara desert, you know, they're doing something totally different. They're going to want something that cleans the sensor because they're actually going to need it. So it's going to vary. I would say it's honestly one that's comprised of the stuff that you actually need and will actually put to good use. Honestly, I think most of the kits that you'll find, it probably has some good stuff in there. The brush and all of that, sometimes stuff in the kits are just a little too cheap. Like rocket blowers are universally fine. You're not going to have any issues with that. But it's going to be the things that's comprised of how you plan to shoot. So if you're doing some kind of photography, active, something like that, constantly popping your lens on and off in the field, you're going to want a totally different kit than somebody that's mostly in indoor settings and stuff like me. And the main, most important things is keeping smudges off your lenses, cleaning the back of the screen so you can actually see, or a monitor that you're using, keeping your glasses clean more than the lens, and that's about the extent of it. And then a rocket blower is always great. So that's that. Let's see. The knobs are pressable. Okay. Left turn, right can be programmed as different. Okay. So they did bite off the Loop Deck Live. So, but that's good though. Again, increased functionality. Again, it just, y'all have to see the Loop Deck Live. Let's just pull that up, because you have to see it in order for it to really make sense if you don't have or haven't used a program like this before. Then it won't make sense. So over here on my computer, this is my Loop Deck Live setup. Now it's currently set on Ecamm. And again, the buttons down here are assignable. So no matter what I'm doing, I can say like this first one is just my generic stream stuff. I can press my second button and it goes to some secondary things that I might need on occasion. Then I can press the third one, and I've color coded them so I know whether I'm tired, whether I've had coffee, or that I've not had enough coffee. I know what I'm going for. So this one I have for my podcast setup, so I can instantly kick that off. All of these things I'm doing within Ecamm Live without having to embed a button within a button, kind of like what I've seen a lot of creators do with the Loop Deck setup. And then I have another one that's set up for when I'm doing the Video Simplified Membership community content. We're doing a live stream. Like tonight, we have our Friday live stream, 6 o'clock, be there or be square. And then I can go through and do dedicated recording videos, whatever. So I'm back to my regular stream. I just hit my button. And then you can assign the knobs, press them for different things, all of that. And especially when I'm doing a course, it's different. Also, like my setup differs from just like my regular, when I'm signed into my computer. This is what I would see when I'm just switching back to my regular computer and I'm not maybe using Ecamm, or maybe I'm switching back between the two. It automatically switches as soon as I click off Ecamm and click onto the internet. I can have a totally different set that automatically switches. You can leave it set on Ecamm, or you can let it kind of navigate as I do. But I have Ecamm Live. I usually am there most of the week. I'm using something with Ecamm Live, like 90% of the time. I have different macros and stuff that I set up based on keeping up with my notes, journal, whatever, emojis, so I can just add those in natively when I'm typing. Opening the Final Cut Pro, Zoom, whatever. Just a ton of different things that I use a lot with it. So if I need to upload a B-roll clip, I have a button for that. If I need to just upload a video in general, like I need to record videos today, I'm just going to hit that button. It automatically opens up the exact Dropbox file, and that's already there. And so you can do the same things that you do in Ecamm. Like I just press my Loop Deck Live button, and if I wanted to go from one thing to another, I could just jump back and forth or kick the pre-screen off and do the countdown timer again. You have a lot of functionalities with that. And so I like it. I wasn't sure, again, how I was going to feel about it, but it's been amazing, especially like if you're a course creator, you do presentations. I don't care if you're a realtor, if you're a consultant, and you have certain scenarios with certain clients that maybe you don't do with others. Maybe you're doing accounting evaluations or whatever, and you need to have a certain screen layout, you can have your Loop Deck Live to instantly bring up all 3 of those screens for you. Probably resize them or something according to maybe how you need, or if you have an ultra wide, maybe you don't have to. And then you're instantly there. You know, it's like, oh, we need this program, this program, this program. You press one button, they all fire off. And you just can customize. You can customize. Efficiency is the name of the game if you want to be a creator these days, for sure. Saying a few weeks ago, I mentioned the Sony VCT VR, the VCR. Okay, thank you. Saying no, but Sony doesn't make them anymore. But eBay is going nuts over where I am anyway. You know, it's not until you start looking for something that all of a sudden now you, now it's like everybody wants one. But it's the holidays too, so we're right around the corner from the holiday season. So tis what a TI is. And no age limit for, it's definitely no age limit for creators. Doesn't mean we're not getting older. Saying hi, I can't believe it's been a week already. I know, Sam. And welcome back. Appreciate you being here. Saying they make the Stream Deck Plus where you can swipe on the screen and go to the next page. I think both units are neck and neck. Loop Deck has more sauce. Elgato has the price savings. That is true. I don't doubt, I don't have any insider notes on this, but I don't doubt that probably at some point you might see a discount on that. That would be something I do plan to keep my eye out for if the price is going to drop on the Loop Deck Live for holiday season, because it makes sense with this new product coming out. They can see the difference in price. Brands do this all the time. I wouldn't doubt that there's going to be a discount. So if you're looking to pick one up, next week we're going over the after Thanksgiving Day sales and all of that stuff. So we're probably going to be live. We're going to be live on Friday for sure, but it just depends on what's happening. So keep your eye out about that. We may do some other things with that, though. Greetings, Brian. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Brother, welcome to the stream. Saying, I appreciate you for sharing your knowledge and expertise. Well, soul food cooking, in English. I can speak English. Soul food cooking. The womp womp is for me. The crickets is also for me. But this for you. My roadcaster needs to go in for an RMA. So as you can hear the crickets, yeah, it's not supposed to be doing that. I didn't accidentally hit a button. It's something weird. I don't know. So what I'm getting for a new Christmas, a fixed Rodecaster Pro. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to need it to record the audiobook for the book. Oh, I said I had good news. I didn't come back around to that. Sorry. Good to see you, Pastor Felicia. Glad that you are here. Welcome to the Friday Live Hellcat. Good to see you. Saying greetings, Diana. Just checking in. How are you? Well, thank you for asking. I'm doing fantastic. I said I had great news today, and I do. Last Tuesday? No, I think it was this Tuesday. I think I shared this on the YouTube community tab. The book that I wrote went to the editor. So I'm very happy about that. Are we still making changes to the book? Yeah, I'm not going to say nothing though, but I'm just going to come back later after I get the revisions from her, make the changes, and probably only get these evaluations that I'm getting back from the feedback that I'm getting back from beta readers. So I had a small group that were selected as beta readers to read the advanced unedited copy of the book. That now is coming back. I'm getting feedback on that stuff already. Amazing, great feedback. The one thing I will suggest, if you all are interested in becoming an author or writer or something like that, you need feedback. I don't believe in, it's like, oh, you need to be able to take constructive criticism. That is an oxymoron in a sense, because it's like you're going to criticize somebody, which is seen as a negative, but constructively. You know, I'm going to tear you down, but in a good way. No, let's just refine. That's a much better term. And it's like, it's not what's bad. What's there is bad. You're just refining it. Like a diamond in essence is never bad. It just gets refined into a specific shape. That's what needs to happen, like with your content and your videos. It may not be bad. You're just refining it. So it's not constructive criticism. So I hate that phrase. So refinement is so much more accurate. And so the beta readers, I'm getting those back, getting those copies back, making some changes to it, which none of the updates have been major to the book. It's just been some refinements essentially and clarification points that some things I did overlook, and I'm like, makes sense in my own world writing this thing. And I'm like, okay, so when I get it book my edited version back from the editor, I'll just have those couple paragraphs that have been added in, and just some small things just double checked. So that's my great news. What's your win for the week? We do this in our company on our team huddles. We start every team huddle off with a win for the week. It doesn't have to be business related, and it's preferred that it's not business related, because it's like, oh, I finished all my work from yesterday. It's like, you're not really happy about that. What are you happy about? Did you get a new pot set? Did you get a new refrigerator? Those are the things. I'm like, what are you happy about? Or going on vacation is starting and I'm happy about whatever. And it's like, it's awesome. So what's your win for the week? Mine is that my book went off to the editor and I'm getting the notes back from my beta reader. So we are moving things right along with this book. I'm very excited. So thanks for asking, Brian. Appreciate that. Saying, images by Gretchen saying, my sensor cleaning kit was essential in Africa with my mirrorless system. But beyond that, a good microfiber and rocket blower were all I took. Yeah, it's like most of the time when it comes to camera kits and systems, stuff that's presented as a set of whatever online, you really don't need it. That's why I made the video about how I've wasted so much money with certain investments early on, or certain things you think is an investment, and it ultimately sometimes becomes a waste of money. And a lot of times something was baked into a kit and it's like, this is everything you need. No, I don't know about that. Some, not that all are bad, but most of them are pretty womp womp, so it's usually the case. So I have the Loop Deck live, but I'm completely underutilizing it. Learning it better is after the holidays list. I completely understand. What I would suggest, if you're trying to learn something like the Loop Deck live or even like the Stream Deck, but because we're specifically talking about the Loop Deck, the way that I integrated it into my everyday everything is just when I would think I need to do this. I have all these different things that I have to do for the day, and I'm like, I can do this, and I'm like, okay, what system can I create? Because my brain operates on systems and efficiencies. So I'm like, what can I do to make this more efficient? So I'm not constantly wasting time clicking a bunch of the same things. So right now I'm in the book writing season. I'm done writing essentially, but revisions now. And so what I needed during the research phase is different than what I needed during the writing phase, is different than what I need now during like the revision phase. And so at each different stage, I'm pulling up different websites. I'm looking into different tools. So it makes sense to plug every website that I'm using on a daily basis for the most part into one button when I want to start my day or when I'm going into that type of work task, and everything pops up. It just makes sense. I even made a button just so I can close Ecamm. When I'm done recording videos in Ecamm, I'm done using it for, recording course content or something, I just press a button and close Ecamm. So I was like, why go to the file, this, that, what? And I'm like, I don't have to do that. I just set a button to close Ecamm. So that's what I would suggest. Even when it came to, I'll share this with y'all because I think a lot of you all need to be, if you're not making courses, you will make a course, and this will be very beneficial and helpful for you. So I did the Ecamm Simplified live course that's over with Ecamm. Definitely check that out. It's for my screen sharing. I want to go to show assets. All of these, like the video Simplified Community and all of this, the Entree Chats Daily Morning Show, if I want to do a video version of that, the Mastering Micro Content, like I could hit a button. Y'all heard none of that because it's prepped for me to be on silent here. So I have this set up so that when I come to this screen, I'm muted, so I'm not accidentally talking before it starts. I would press a button, which I'm going to put this back because I still do update. It goes here. It goes through all of those system of things with a button press through the Loop Deck Live, or if you want to click it in Ecamm, you can. And then it comes down to me being on screen. And then I can start teaching and going over the whatever I'm teaching and talking about. So I can do this with Ecamm Live. The only problem is, like I said, I was muted for a second there, so you didn't lose audio. It was me. It wasn't YouTube. But I can set up and I say, okay, I want it to start with the title screen. I'm going to be on camera speaking, or we're going to be doing a screen share, or I'm going to be showing a website or whatever. Okay, I'm like, based on these sets of course videos that I need to make, what's the most efficient way for me to do this? Lock it into Loop Deck Live. So I built a set of buttons. So I'm like, press this for my prep screen, press another one. It starts the music, it starts the video, it starts the recording. All of those things, you'd be trying to do multiple keystrokes or button presses in Ecamm. You can do it that way, or you can assign it to a one button in the Loop Deck Live. All of those things start immediately, even down to making sure that the perfect button starts when I say, okay, and that's where we're going to end it for lesson 3. Let's head over to lesson 4, where we're diving into how do you go through an interview and find out if somebody's lying to you or not during the interview process. We'll be talking about that in the next lesson. Hit the button, music starts, it plays for a certain amount of seconds, and then it stops at a certain part. So every video ends the same way. I had to hardly edit none of those videos. Everything was able to be created live to drive in Ecamm Live, because Ecamm is super efficient, super customizable, and the Loop Deck Live complements that. They update each other like instantaneous, and so it's a match made in heaven, especially if you want to start getting into content creation, or if you just don't like editing videos. I mean, I think to some extent, like, let's not get too bizarre here. Some of y'all need to edit videos, like, or you need to hire an editor, not to sell my course, but plug of building a team.live if you do want to get a course on how to do that. But some of y'all do need to hire an editor, because you do need to take some of the fluff out of your content. You're talking way too long. It, like, when I'm evaluating some client videos, it's like 3 minutes before they get to the point. I'm like, what are we talking about here? You said the video's going to be on this. They saw the thumbnail. They already hit on search. They know what they want to watch. We don't need a big lead up here. It's just like, hey, you are looking to get started into YouTube ads. I understand. And you might be looking into or having confusion around this option versus this one. I'm breaking it all the way down, and I'm going to be sharing, like, give them a basic intro. This is what we're covering. This is what we're not, just in case they're confused or there is some confusion there. When I teach my clarity framework, the first thing, see, confusion point. Address it. Bring up the elephant in the room. Move on to the point. Get to the point of why they clicked on the video. And I mean, like, under 30 seconds, 18, 20 seconds max. They shouldn't be able to have to hit the skip on the phone. You know, where's my skippers? They shouldn't have that problem. But it's become a social behavior on YouTube because some of y'all talk too gosh darn long in the beginning of your video. So get to the point. May the Lord bless you and keep you always, because some of y'all be like, I do live to drive. I ain't got to edit nothing. You should. You need to cut some of that out. I'm going to leave it there. I ain't going to step on no toes today. You're too close to Christmas. So what would be your honest review of the Sony East? Oh, gosh. Brother, you bring up these model numbers like I work at Sony. I don't. They pay me $0, 0 cents for me to do these Friday Live Helpcasts. Like, they don't, like, this is my show. I don't know what that model is. What's the ZV-1 EBM? I don't know what that is. I think that's the, you know what? I don't know, because the GZ1M is throwing me off. What the hell even is this? I figured it was one of their digital mics. It sounds like the BG X.36294 freaking... Okay, the ECM usually is one of the mics. The shock mount is a little concerning. Initially, I don't have an opinion of it because I didn't even know what the heck it was. Let's go here. Gun zoom microphone. All right. I don't know what this sounds like. I don't know anything about it. So I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't have an opinion of it because I don't know anything about it. It's my first time even looking at it, hearing about it, whatever. The the shock mount looks concerning to me. And the reason why I say that is because when you look at any kind of microphone, let me scroll in here on Ecamm. When you look at any kind of microphone, and I see this a lot with other ones that are like, hey, you can use it for vlogging or whatever, even if you're just hand holding, screw the vlogging stuff. The fact that there's no kind of anything here, yes, it may be digital, but that has nothing to do with you not having shakes, bumps, and even if you had a boom operator holding a mic like this or something for whatever reason, then it doesn't change anything. Like the zoom and the gun feature or whatever, I would imagine is some kind of digital something that goes into that. But again, I have no opinion of this because I have not used this. I don't know. If it's not one of the latest ones that they use just because or have created, I'm not going to play around with my audio, honestly. I'd much rather prefer to just get this. Just being flat out. The Movo VXR10. And it's like that or the Rode Video Micro. Jesus, nuggets on here with, gosh, kind of strength monkey y'all got putting that on. So I would rather use this. All right. Can you see? AC400 participate. This is using, what do you call it's almost like in the shape of a lyre, but the shock mount. So as you're moving, you're shaking, whatever, it's not a lot of shake to it, but that kind of suspension system, it's not, and the ones that they have that's, like I switched mines. It doesn't come like this. This is why I just pretend this is the Rode Video Micro. I switched theirs out that came with the Movo VXR10 because it sucks. It's the same problem. When you have something that's locked in place, it's going to pick up every little bump audibly. I don't care what kind of microphone it is. If it, you know what I'm saying, unless you have some kind of suspension system or something so it can move and wiggle and remove some of that. Every mic, for the most part, needs something like that. The problem with this device over here that I just don't care for that reason, it has none. So audio quality, it may be something, but the fact I'm not going to lie, the fact they threw it on a camcorder suggests to me it's not probably one of their better options because it may suggest some aging. Audio's very forgiving in the sense that it doesn't take a whole lot to find a good microphone. I can't say that is good or bad. I have no opinion of it. Like I said, I'm just looking at it at face value and my initial thoughts based on that. But if you like it, you don't need my permission for you to get it, obviously. But I mean, there's some things about that. I'm like, I don't know. It has to have some kind of suspension, even if it's hidden. Like, and that's just like, it's just sitting low, but it's hitting and it's something on the inside. Then it's like, okay, cool. But, it depends. Audio's not one of those things you want to play around with because when you mess up the audio, I don't care if everybody said their lines right. If the audio's messed up, you're doing a retake for anything. For anything. You could be working at a nonprofit, doing stuff with churches, whatever. If there is a mistake with the audio, it's just not something worth playing around with. If you're going to boom that, maybe it'll work fine. I don't know. I just don't know. So be careful about that. Just test it and see how it works in your preferred setup or system. So I put out a few live streams to buy gifts for the men in your life under a certain dollar threshold if y'all need help. Check out the brother stream. You better have some good recommendations. Telling people to check it out. You better have some good recommendations. Don't come with no weird stuff. All right? Don't come with no weird stuff, brother. Make it be something great. Okay, the flip-flops he actually wants. The cologne that actually smells good. Don't come with no crazy stuff. I'm going to recommend you no more of your videos. But check the brother out if you need some of that stuff. Saying, is getting affiliated with Sony possible for small creators? Is it worth it to pursue them? So here's the thing. Sony pursued me. And I would say to some extent, it's not like, oh, they found me. I'm so great. No, it's not like that. It's Sony found me though. Sony reached out to me initially. That's how any cameras and lenses and stuff that we've received from Sony for testing, that came by way of them getting communication with me. I would imagine for any company and any brand, even something like people think, oh man, Sony's a major corporation. Yeah, they are. But that's why I said your clarity in your message, the value proposition of the who you're serving and how, and the information that you share. That's why I said, like, don't discount wherever you are in your journey. These brands pay attention. You know why? Because I sell way more cameras for them, or even like with, I know I sold a crap ton of Canon M50s, crap ton of Canon M6s. I'd never recommended the SL2 or SL3 cameras or any of those SL cameras, the DSLRs. But it's just like, I know I've sold a crap ton of like all kinds of brands. It's not just those two that I've actually used and preferred. But these brands know that the value of what I'm saying, I stand behind I put my name on the line when I recommend something or when I say I don't. I put my name on the line. I care a whole lot more about my name than anybody else's brand because my brand comes first. If I'm willing to say without any intervention from a company, and I think there is value in knowing that there's no sugarcoating when I'm saying something. I'm like, this could be done a whole lot better. Like, I've not made any secrets about my dislikes about the ZV-10. There's some things that need to be improvement. Actually, you know, I haven't published that video yet, but there's a video that's be coming out on the channel. It's already uploaded. It's long since been uploaded. But I'm like, there's some things that need improvement on this. You shouldn't have to spend $1,500, $2,000 to get certain features in modern day things. The Jello in the 4K, that shouldn't be. Autofocus is stellar. Quality is stellar. We need some 4K 60 even on the base models. Not cropped in, not none of that. Okay, the fact that I am willing to put my name behind it, don't care what size of a channel you have. You need to have more respect for your brand, personally. So is it worth it to pursue them? I didn't pursue them. I pursue y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm pursuing my audience. They care about trying to get in between that because they know it's way more value behind someone that you trust, that whether it's a personality or personality with a brand, you trust people. That makes you then at that point sometimes trust a brand. So, you know, it's like you have to understand like some of the mechanics a little bit better when it comes to the branding and the value proposition there, but they'll work with, and that's one thing with Sony, they've not like really cared as much about like your channel size or something like that. You need to know what you're talking about, have some value, be able to create quality content and effectively communicate with your audience and some other things or whatever. But these brands will pursue you very easily. We turn down a crap ton of people that's either just trying to send us stuff for free, for it's like, oh, can you recommend and do a video? It's like, no, my people don't want that. Even like, oh, that's trash. Like, I don't say that to them, but I'm like, no, that's not a great fit for our audience. Our audience is past that, or they don't need that. They be like, well, what about we can do a refrigerator magnet for it? It's like, and I'm like, they don't want that. Like, I advocate for y'all a lot. And sometimes financially to my detriment of not just taking the deal for the sake of taking the deal. So when you look at like brand partnerships and this could be anything, you look at brand partnerships, it is worth their while to get somebody that their target audience of the purchasers of their products actually already trust without the company's intervention. So it's not worthwhile necessarily for you to almost pursue them in that instance, but for them to pursue you. It makes sense. And even if you did reach out, the value proposition is there. As long as the other elements are there, it's a fair chance of you looking, or at least getting on their radar, or even being recommended. Most of the time, it was somebody else that was advocating for me and behind closed doors for some of these things, had no clue about, or they found my content, which is usually how most of these brands find out about me, is that they search for something, or their people search for something, or, you know, it's something about that relationship. And then they'd be like, they found my video. That's usually one of the common lines we'll see in any of the emails from brands and companies that are looking to like either send us stuff, potentially partner, and a lot of things like that. They want access to y'all. And they know you would much rather pay attention to somebody you know, like, and trust than just a regular YouTube ad, which your regular social behavior is to skip and ignore because you're trying to get to the who is behind the ad. So brands understand this. So the value of you is a whole lot more than you think. Case in point, let me pull up a creator friend real quick. Shout out to Anita by Design over on the Tubes U, because Anita does sewing, and I've talked about her before on the channel. I know zero things about sewing, but she makes clothes. She makes clothes. She make a tracksuit. She make all kinds of stuff, dresses, just all kinds of things. Let's take a look real quick. Anita by Design. Let's sew some pajamas. She's had so many different things where she's sewing and giving away sewing machines. Guess who reached out to her? A sewing machine company, or even like that little cutting board thing that she has, or the people that do mannequins. These brands, it behooves them to get in front of Anita's audience because they know they're trying to sell their product, their brand, or whatever, or even just build someone to have some brand advocacy for them, right? You know, so think about that. Us creators are probably answering more questions for these brands and companies than they are to some extent around certain things, and we're able to get to you faster. You know, for those of us that reply to our YouTube comments, that is. But, you know, she does sewing machines and stuff, so it does make sense. It does make sense. Whatever you're doing, you can get a company to pay attention or, you know, pursue them or what have you. Tatiana Teachers, good to see you. Glad that you are here. Good to see you. Girls, long good to see you. Saying hello. I finally bit the bullet on the ZVE10, but I am shooketh. Watching all of your videos on the camera, but struggling with lighting adjustments. Be more specific, and congrats on your new purchase, first of all. Be more specific about what you're struggling with. Lighting is very easy. I'm gonna give you a pro tip here for anybody using lighting. Number one, set your white balance. There's a video on how to do that. They're almost all the same in any of the Sony cameras. But set the white balance. You need a gray card to do that. Mine is someplace over there. But gray cards are like $7. You get a color checker that's way more expensive, but baseline, get started, get a gray card. I've been using the same one since like 2016 or 17. Works great. Set your white balance. Once you set the white balance, the other factors that go into your lighting are going to be dealing with your aperture, shutter speed, ISO, because that deals with the light sensitivity to the sensor, meaning how much light can get to the sensor and how bright or dark is something going to be. So I've done a video where I share all of these things and explain all these things. Don't get too caught in the weeds. Just do the best you can, make some videos, and keep progressively moving forward with each video. Try to improve one thing. Just set a goal to improve one thing every new video. That's how you get better at video content creation. Set a goal to improve one thing every new video and say, well, the lighting kept going bright and dark and bright and dark. Okay, guess what? You are either all the way in automatic or your ISO is set to automatic. What if we just put that at, let's say you're using a kit lens. What if we just put that at 250 or something? Maybe not 250. It could be 400 depending on what I don't think you probably need that high, but let's say that's the case. Let's say at 400 because you have lights and you're like, dag, I still look bright. What's going into that? So we can dive into that more, but just try to improve one thing or pay attention to what is happening. It's like, I wonder what that's about. And then research that one thing and then try to improve upon that in your next video. Just one thing at a time. You don't need to know everything about everything. It's just one thing at a time, because what doing too much research up front will do is send you into analysis paralysis, and you don't want that. And so what you want to do is one thing. If lighting is kicking your butt right now, another pro tip, look for hot spots right here, right here, right here on your chin, tip of your nose. If you can do this, just hold your hand, not for autofocusing purposes, but if you can do this and still see the details in your hand, and then you can do this and still see the details in your hand, you know that one, your lighting is set to a place to where it's soft enough. You don't need to be at 100% on your lighting. Please don't be at 100% on your lighting. You're gonna be like a deer in headlights. You have diffusion for your lighting. So I can do this and we can clearly see the details in my hand. If I do like this, block my hand, A6400 participate, I don't see any hot spots. Even here, clear signs is knuckles. The knuckle-ish, meaty-ish part of your hand, whatever that's called, on your phalanges. I can do this. Thankfully, I'm not ashy. Praise the Lord. So I can see on either side of my hand, you can see the details of it. If I can see the details of my hand, then I know I have good lighting. So don't get too caught in the weeds for it. Just do a test. Do a test. And this will be like, oh, it gets brighter and then it gets darker. Is your ISO, are you in completely auto, or is your ISO set to fluctuate? lock that ISO. I promise you there are still videos on my channel to this day. I did all the things that I'm teaching and telling y'all. Those videos, please don't watch them, but those videos are still available publicly. Where the video was too dark because I just copy and pasted. What was it? Sean, I was watching Sean. Sean was my initial teacher for YouTube. Sean Cannell specifically over at Think Media. Sean was the person I learned video stuff from. He needs to go to school, didn't need to go to college or whatever for that. I learned from YouTube. I have a bunch of creators that taught me. And so copy and pasted Sean's settings. I'm like, well, his video looks good. I'm just gonna copy and paste what he used. Why do you think I tell y'all what not to do? Because I did them. And I'm like, man, my video is super dark. But he said he used the right settings. And not that he was wrong, but I didn't understand that how you find the right settings is based on your space and your environment. That's why you hear me teach your best settings. It's not going to be based off of any video I create. It's going to be based off of your environment. I don't know if you have a window. I don't know if your window is facing the sun 90% of the day. I don't know if you have a window that where now it's cold outside and some of y'all are getting snow, and that's crazy. Iowa. And it's blue or this pure bright white light coming through the window now. That's going to impact your white balance. Did you readjust for the winter time? Probably going to do a video about that. Most people don't pay attention to things like that. So there's a lot of little things. Lighting is going to be a great thing. Once you learn it, it's amazing. It can make your video so beautiful. Most people think cameras, lenses, those are fantastic. Lighting and audio is way more important. But ask your question specifically and I can help you out more. Said, nice, I'm going to use the terminology for my public speaking students when giving feedback. We're fine. That's what I'm talking about. Now, all right, Roadcast, I'm finna hit the button. Don't play nothing. See? Y'all hear that? I'm tapping on the side of my Rodecaster Pro, and the buttons are fluctuating. It's broke. That's for you, Tatiana. So, yeah, I gotta send my Rodecaster and it's broke. It's like the device, or either maybe I can't say in shipping because it was brand new. But it's just, I don't know, man. I gotta get it fixed. Struggles of the first world creator. Saying win for the week. Have my first live interview scheduled for Tuesday using Ecamm. Really thankful for this community. All right, we're gonna try to do this. Don't see. Look, we don't need the scratching record. The womp womp is for the board that's messed up. The alert and chime is for you. Congrats. That's huge. Ecamm is so amazing, man. Ecamm makes stuff so easy, and like, it just is amazing. It's a beautiful thing. Win for the week, Todd Christmas Clatter saying, this will sound ridiculous. However, I'm having to turn people away that want to appear on an episode. The schedule is full. Of course, if Ryan Reynolds calls, I'm squeezing him. All right, let's go. Try it again, Roadcaster. See, this is like the Wheel of Wonder. You never know what's going to happen. Okay, I don't know how long that's going to go for. The Rodecaster's broke. Rodecaster Pro 2, what happened to you, man? You passed away this evening. That's a great win, though. Your schedule is full. Most people that want people on their podcast, like, I remember my very first podcast I created, I started it with the intent thinking I was going to have, like, this, like, all it was ever going to be was interviews. And I just found I don't like doing a whole bunch of interviews. But for those of you that do, it's amazing. And to have a full schedule, number one, that means you're going to be consistently creating content. You can continuously have a backlog of shows, and you're just constantly going to be attracting in new audiences. So that is actually not ridiculous at all, Todd. That is freaking amazing. Saying, what's the book about? This book is helping entrepreneurs transition into becoming a content creating entrepreneur. This is for the consultant, the business coach, I don't want to say teacher, but I guess you could be. But this is for the entrepreneur that's transitioning into video content creation. Some of y'all, if you've been in my community for a while, would I love it if you picked up the book to support the whole project? Yes. But does it necessarily mean that some of the elements in there you don't already know? No, you're probably going to know them because I'm a pretty gosh darn good teacher over here on YouTube. But this is for the entrepreneur. I want this to be something that, like, especially when I go into conferences, when I'm going to events, and I'm speaking to entrepreneurs and other people that are not into the YouTuber sphere, there's a lot of elements of them becoming a content creating entrepreneur that they don't get. They misunderstand the concept of being a YouTuber. They misunderstand the concept of social media, even though that these areas are already proven. So I'm not convincing them of YouTube. I'm just giving them the strategies to be competent in creating video content, how to find the best gear, and not with specific recommendations. Kind of doesn't matter the brand you use these days. It can be amazing. But what's the right order of operations, if you will, on buying gear? How do you create a competent video? Know that the video is actually going to do the job that you want it to do. And then there's some elements in there where I share some stuff around building a team and being more efficient. But they're good at being an entrepreneur. They don't get the landscape even when it comes to being a content creating entrepreneur. So that's what my book is about. What do you mean the sound is gone? That must have been when I was doing the what's the name of back. I was about to say, if I've been talking for like 45 minutes, you just gonna kill the stream. I'm over it. But yeah, that was at that point. Okay, I remember. So I took your advice on that. I landed the plane on my video upload today. Has higher Hey man, I'm telling you, getting to the point will never be outdated. It will never be outdated. Fixed Point, good to see you, saying hi. Do you have an editor or do you still edit yourself? I have seen both pros and cons to this. Any thoughts? Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on it. Building a team.live is a course I created, so you don't have to make the same mistakes when hiring a video editor or with feeling like you're going to get ripped off, because that's a thing, but there are certain things that you can do to kind of mitigate that as well. Your systems and efficiency, again, as a content creating entrepreneur, it's everything, or just as a creator. I do not edit my videos anymore. There's only some videos where maybe I just want to edit it, but even then I temper that emotion and let my editor edit for me. And and I'm gonna be real honest, he's a way better creative editor than I am. There are still, because it's like, even like, yeah, there's some things, it's just like, I wouldn't think to do or add in a video. It's just some things I wouldn't. Like, my brain is very linear most of the time. And so I wouldn't think to add in certain things, or I'm watching the video. He knows what kind of content we're doing. This is the focus, this is whatever. Sometimes I don't even have to explain it. A lot of times I don't have to explain it now. I'm just like, this is the video. Unless I have a specific idea for something, then I'll share that. But I just let him do his thing. And he's amazing. He's a way better editor in a lot of respects than I am. And I'm a pretty gosh darn good video editor, but I don't edit anymore. I haven't edited my own videos since beginning of 2021. Yeah, that's the last time like I was regularly editing videos for myself in the channel. Everything else, the kudos goes to my team to make the content that you see possible. We have a backlog of content right now. Videos are ready to go. Just need a thumbnail on it, but otherwise ready to go. Crap ton. We got probably, I'm not fudging this number, but we probably have like 400 pieces of micro content and some other pieces that people have never seen. That's how much, like, we have a crap ton of content. He can work faster than I can because he's good. But I do not edit my own videos anymore. And for a lot of entrepreneurs and just creators alike, it is something to be said about letting go of your baby. You know, the channel is yours. You built this thing. You're building a vision. You have a certain idea for it. You don't know how well you want to let somebody handle some of the most important parts for you. There's a lot of things about when you start hiring an editor. And I even found yesterday, when I first hired my first VA back in 2017. So the first time I ever hired anybody was back in 2017. And I saw all the stuff that I did wrong. Like, I don't just remember them, like I have a record of it. And I'm like, no wonder I was so bad. At number one, it wasn't like keeping people was a problem, but I'm like, this person's got to go. Not that I fired people unlike justly aware, but I'm like, it just didn't work. It was never a great fit. Because not that I wasn't ready, it just wasn't right. Like, the systems weren't there. Had expectations and no systems in place, and it just sucked. And so I'm sure it sucked for them a lot. But I don't agree with, like, especially when you got certain goals and things you're trying to do, there's no way you can edit as much content as you need to put out. Your mind, your brain in the position of being a freaking leader has to be focused on the stuff that needs vision. It needs your vision. There are some things that only you can do. Editing, somebody else can do. I already know I can hear my friend's voice twiddling in my ears like, yeah, but they're not going to have my style. It's like, style is subjective. They can have a way better style than you, though. They can. That's all they do is 24/7. That's what they love. And you're probably loving aspects of it, or you may love it. You can go get somebody else to do it. I'm not just selling the course. I'm just saying, like, commanding your time better, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's something to be said about letting go of that and focusing in on the things that you can actually focus in on. Like, I don't have to struggle trying to put together slides for a presentation or a talk or paid training or whatever. I can go and actually focus. What granted me such a time freedom to be able to write the book is because I had a team. I'm not trying to make some of the graphics and PDF stuff that y'all see. My assistant makes that stuff, and she's way better at it. And I'm like, I would never think to do that. It would look terrible probably if I tried to do it. But it's like, oh, I have an idea. It's like, we can do this. It's like, great. For this course, it's a companion course to go with the book. And there's a lot of freebies that we're giving away in the book. So a lot of things that you can download, stuff like that accompanies the book. I didn't make that stuff. She's making it. I'm like, I can see it looking like this. Or I'm like, I think it needs to be like this. But I give them creative freedom to whatever you got an idea for, let's try it. Let's try that first. So I'm not sold on the idea of I have to do everything or they're not going to get my vision. It don't work like that. You know, it's some communication errors and some stuff like that. But that's a great question, Fixed Point. But yeah, I don't edit anymore. Another win. I'm working with a potential video editor, going to do one project together as a trial for both of us. Thanks for your content on hiring an editor. It gave me, you know what? All right, Roadcaster, don't you mess us up now. Oh, gosh. The Roadcaster don't want to participate today. If you just joining the stream, the Roadcaster Pro needs healing hands laid on it. It's got to go in for repairs. So every time I hit one button, four other of them fire off. So we're here for it, man. We're here for it. It's the Friday Live Helpcast, but that's great. That's great. I'm glad that you are able to hire a potential video editor. Pro tip that I'll tell you in doing that: don't give a new video editor, even a potential one or whatever. Always do trial periods so you can find out if it's a great fit. But don't let go and just give them everything and then you just sit back and relax. You still need to work as if they didn't start because you need to be able to understand how to clearly communicate with them what you're saying and doing. You would think like, put a lower third in here for this and do that. You think those like, oh, that's black and white. But just because you said it doesn't mean somebody heard it the way that you think you explained it at times. And so there is a period of adjustment to, and it doesn't have to be weeks, but there is, like, especially within that first week, really making sure that they understand what you're saying and they are able to capture, grab, and just run with the vision of what you're saying that you want. They understand that. And so there's some communication time frame in there that has to be there. So don't hire somebody and then you just completely let go of the videos, because what you'll find is if that person winds up being not a great fit, and this is for anybody, not the potential person, if they wind up not being a great fit, then what you'll have now is a backlog of content and you'll be behind. So still have some videos ready that you're working on, or maybe produce some shorter videos. So maybe what I call like some light planners, which in my content quadrant is some that you can kick out really quickly. So let's say you do like a 2-3 minute quick video. Doesn't take long for you to do. If you're doing that, then that could be like an update video in your niche or something. If it's like real estate, it could be a new law is coming out, or it's on the floor right now in order to be voted on. And here's what that looks like if it gets passed. And it's a quick update video. Doesn't require a whole lot of editing. Maybe even a portion of it is just a screen share or something. Doesn't require a ton. Don't give your editor that to do. You still do something like that so you can still crank out content, put that extra stuff up on your channel so you can still be producing content, have plenty of stuff that you can produce and upload without the stress And then you give them some projects that maybe are 6 and 8 weeks away from when you actually want to publish it. But don't give them something that you want due by Friday that needs to be uploaded by Saturday, because it's no time for you to go through revisions and stuff with that person if you need to do revisions or if it's just really off. So pro tip for you there if you're hiring an editor. Happy Friday, D. Let's face this. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Thank you. Saying, oh, LOL, I have the SL3. What's wrong with it? I have the Sony ZV-1 too. I just said I didn't recommend those cameras. I don't recommend DSLRs. Personally, it's nothing wrong really with the camera. It's just some missing things about it that just aren't necessarily best if you're just buying today. If you already have the camera, use the camera. But I'm saying, like, it's not a camera, even when it first came out, it just wasn't a camera I personally would recommend over others, because number one, especially when it comes to video, DSLRs are terrible when it comes to the audio interface. And it's like Canon and Nikon were horrible. Like, and I'm telling you from experience, I owned the Canon T5. I own a lot of Canon cameras, but the mirrorless cameras, that was like one of the bigger happy points of switching from DSLR to a mirrorless camera. DSLR's preamps were always really busy. It just was a constant shh in the audio file. Whereas with mirrorless, the preamps are much quieter. So if you aren't good with editing, or if you didn't do something, you wouldn't have to really, you didn't have maybe the best microphone or whatever. It didn't matter. You just use a basic lapel and it sounds great. That's why I said earlier the Canon M3 was a really favorite camera and a big deal for me personally, because it solved those problems. One of the ones mainly was audio. Reason why I used to, back in the day, always have audio playing, and then at some point the audio would get too loud, and people would complain on the videos in my early days of creating content because I was trying to cover over that shh that you would hear constantly just from bad preamps in a DSLR camera. So DSLRs universally had that issue. It's not a Canon thing. It's not a specific model thing. So when the SL3 came out, it was just like Canon just was at that place where they just kept putting out more DSLR cameras, and it's like, make mirrorless cameras. Stop with making 7 of the same model cameras and they all got the same issues, and it just didn't make sense to me personally. And I knew they were phasing out the DSLR lineup in lieu of mirrorless and stuff. It was just a timing thing. So within a few months, switch to mirrorless, and Bob's your uncle. So so it's not that it's bad. If you have it, keep using it. It's not bad. It's just, especially in a situation like this, in a live streaming setup, you would never hear the preamp. But if you're recording cameras, recording your talks, kind of a thing, 30-minute time limit, it's a lot of stuff. But that's a back in the day kind of a thing. Saying, oh, you work with Canon cameras. I'm using it. No, I did. We team Sony over here in these streets now. So I'm using Canon T3i though. I'm planning the upgrade to either 70D, 90D. What would you go with? Neither. 70D is too old. 90D is it's all right. The 90D is not bad. Let's not get it twisted. The 90D is not bad. Again, I just don't recommend DSLRs this present day. It has nothing to do with me loving Sony. That's just my personal preference. But there are certain requirements. I always call it like your list of non-negotiables of things that a camera should have, so that you're not buying other accessories and you're not trying to look for workarounds for things that are problematic. If you had to choose, and that's the options that you want to choose between, the 90D is the easy choice all day, every day. You can even find those on the used market if you didn't want to pay for it brand new, but it just is not worth it. Honestly, personally, my opinion, because I know the frustrations that beginning, medium, advanced creators are going to run into with certain cameras. The 90D is not a bad camera. The 70D was an amazing camera in its day. And it's not about, only buy things brand new. That's not the case. It's just, there are some things you're going to be trying to solve. Why is this happening in my video? Or how do I do this? And no, because you can't, no. Unless you're doing photos or something, a little bit of hybrid maybe or whatever. But I wouldn't recommend buying a DSLR today. It's just way more options for all kind of mirrorless cameras across a lot of different budgets that will better serve you across any brand. Way better serve you than some of the older DSLR models. Fine if you're using them in certain respects, but it's just some things. Again, I just don't recommend DSLRs. This is my personal thing. And shouldn't have to spend a lot to get an audio jack when it's available on a cheap video camera. Not sure what that's referencing. So, or what camera doesn't have audio port. Deb. Let's see here. Next question or next comment. So one thing with the ZV-1, the color balance is off indoors. I had to play around a lot with the settings to de-orange my skin. Custom white balance. If you're doing auto, if you're indoors, that makes it easy. You shouldn't have to. I wouldn't even recommend doing auto white balance on any camera. Once you're indoors, even if you're using like house lighting, or let's say you're recording your, like, what is it, NaNoWriMo National whatever writing month this month. Let's say you're doing like writing vlogs or something, since I'm in this publishing space now, and you're sitting on your sofa and you're talking about a character development, something like that. The lighting from the window, the lighting from the, let's say the table lamp or stuff like that, it's going to fluctuate because you're next to a window. There's no point at that point to let it run on auto. It's not something you honestly have to really mess with a whole lot. So you can set the white balance in any of my cameras. And I was vlogging with the, where is she? ZV-1. I've been vlogging with the ZV-1 this week. And the white balance is set. Because I'm not, and that's like just documenting my experience and stuff, and I'm at home. You don't have to set anything. So that's one thing. Now, as far as the skin being orange, it can be a couple things. Usually, like say the white balance, and you would be surprised the slight discoloration in your skin tone from the wrong white balance. Nothing to do with the colors of the camera. The colors of the camera, just in standard picture profile, look great. And that's on any skin tones. I've worked with a lot of skin tones on this camera. It looked great on any skin tone, seriously. And age even. So that's more than likely it's a white balance issue. So that would be kind of probably with any camera. But yeah, I would probably say just set the white balance or know your number. Like I know right now, this season in creating content, 4,300 kelvins is where my white balance is. Anything higher than that, wrong skin tones. That throws off the color grading. It throws off a lot of stuff. Knowing the right white balance number, the kelvins for your whatever it is in your space, and that's around the house. You're not gonna change that much indoors for real. So if you know you have a lot of warm colored light bulbs like those tungsten, figure out what the right number is for you, or just set it with a gray card, and that's the end of that story. So if you are having to adjust the saturation, that's something different, but that can make you sometimes a little orange. But that's going into the weeds though. But yeah, you don't, it's probably the white balance then. So yeah, I'm starting to get those emails, but bad products to review. Yeah, it's like, we would like your participation in sharing this with your audience. We're not going to pay you anything, but we would love for you to just like, I don't know, make 7 videos like about nothing. And it's like, good day to you. And it's like, I need that AOL or the shutdown, the Windows shutdown. I wish you could send like audio via email. That's all I'd send back as a reply. That's not good branding in business, but that's what I feel like sometimes. LV Collier, good to see you. Glad you're here. Saying yes, a headphone jack and a full HDMI connector would be nice on a new $800 to $1,000 camera. I'm talking to you, Z30. So, okay, now I get where you're coming from, Deb, where I was at in the conversation before. So, yes, I do agree there should be some base level things, because let's not get it twisted. $800 to $1,000 is still a lot of money. It's a lot of money for anything. It's a lot of money for a mortgage. It's a lot of money for a car payment. So it's a lot of money for a camera. In the camera space, though, a $500 camera is considered cheap. $700 to $800 is considered cheap in the camera space. $1,000 is just barely getting you to, let's say, $1,000, $1,300-ish is traditionally usually getting you with more features and stuff like that of what I think should be in those base $700 cameras. So yeah, I think like that's why I was so elated when this camera came out. The ZV-10 has nothing to do with some kind of crazy brand loyalty or something like that. It handled a lot of the headphone port, microphone port, flip out screen, touch screen should have been there, new menu should have been there, new sensor should have been there, but fine. It's like improved autofocus, great. Product showcase mode, fantastic. I don't have a whole lot of complaints with this, but I do think that there are some things universally, and this is not a Sony rant or something, it's just universally, there should be certain things in cameras because it just should. The average baseline creator does not need some of this stuff that they still are trying to push. Z30, we're talking to you. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it is what it is. Saying, got it. One thing I can do. Yep, one thing at a time. Saying, yep, you can't copy and paste, especially for our skin. That's another thing I'm not going to get on a rant about, but yes, that is true. Saying audio is king to me. A good lighting makes mid-grade camera shine. Yes, audio is more important than video. As a video-focused person, video-centric person, so it's hard for people to hear that. Sometimes it's hard for me to say out loud, but audio is way more important than the video. You'd be surprised on how much we focus in on audio, just very minor things when it comes to the audio in our videos, because it's just annoying. How annoying would it be to just hear shh the whole time? Ain't nobody trying to hear that. Nobody want to hear that. It sucks. Or give me 3 seconds of a rant, y'all. I'm gonna get back to the questions and comments in the chat. So feel free to ask your questions in the chat. I'm coming. But I got one rant. You self-publishing community people, thank the Lord for you. However, please get a microphone. Please get a microphone. Please get a microphone. They're only $30. They sound great. They'll help with rejecting some background noise. Please get a microphone, because y'all, it's fine. You want to record on your laptop or you want to record on your smartphone, front-facing camera, whatever. I don't care. We just want the information. But we also don't want to have to hear shh, and the freaking laptop is whirring and going crazy and you can hear all of that. It sounds terrible. It sounds terrible. It sounds terrible. It sounds terrible. I want to do something and just like, let's switch from the Rodecaster Pro and we're going to go to the mic on the laptop, but I care about you all too much to ruin my stream like that. But that's what it sounds like. Please get a microphone. Audio is way more important than the video quality, and lighting is a second. Saying, wow, how'd you break the Rodecaster? I didn't break it. I didn't break it. And yes, they already sent me an RMA. I didn't break it. It just is like a fluke. I didn't even press a button then. All I did was press like to go from page to page. It does its own thing. See how it has this effect or whatever on the voice, and you can switch it to doing all those different things. Like this is the robot filter. That's the other filter. This is another filter. So these all work, but if I just switch to the panel, then it would just do it all on its own. So I can't just hit. Well, now I can. I didn't break it. It just started messing up. I didn't break the Rodecaster. It sits on the desk, man. I didn't do anything. Nothing fell on it. It's not under pressure. It's not under any stress. I think it's a fluke with the sound pads, because that's where the fluke is. It's like if I press it, it's almost like they're depressed or something on the inside or something, but I didn't do it. It's not my fault. I did do it. So my big win, started Ecamm a year ago today. Last night I did my 365th daily, thanks to the Ecamm fan. Thankfully, it was no extra sounds with that button at times. So congratulations to you. Everybody clap it up. Throw some clap emojis. Throw some stars in the chat throw some lightning bolts. I love lightning bolts because I love Storm from X-Men. She's the best character. Jean Grey is not weak, but she is lazy. And I stand on that. Go watch any of the older X-Men, and Jean Grey is lazy. I don't care nothing about the Phoenix powers, and she's lazy. Okay, Storm for the win. Throw some lightning bolts in the chat. Shout out for you, Gretchen, for putting in the freaking work. That's what I'm talking about. That is how you get good. I love that. What's up, Gordon Reed? Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Good evening from Uganda. Kampala, good to see you. Brother, glad that you are here. Saying, heard the Rodecaster. So I'm just saying, So I use a custom white balance. The way the Sony reads colors is off. So I don't want to get too in the weeds, but if you do, okay, so Deb, so here's what I would recommend. I don't know if you adjusted like maybe the saturation or whatever. However, what you can do is when you go in the white balance panel in your computer, not computer, in your camera, in that same space, where you can adjust like the saturation and stuff, you'll see that grid that comes up, and it's like red over here, purple over here, green, that one. And it's like usually like R3, R7, whatever, all those different things, or green 1. For that, if you are, instead of adjusting just saturation in general, you can specifically pull certain colors from it. So if you do notice, like for your skin tone, your environment, you've done all your work, I hear you. Go and do the adjustment for that. And that will kind of help if you need to take less red, just go further away from the red. Just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. And like probably record with a live streaming setup or something so you can see what that looks like on screen. That will help you. So I have noticed at certain times where if I'm recording and let's say for whatever reason, I'm like, it's like that's giving for whatever, like especially like hotels. It's like these lights are weird. It's like I'm seeing like a slightish greenish hue, and that's after setting the white balance, like you said. Okay, so the camera's done as best as it can do. Now we use our knowledge to that work. So you go in the white balance setting a little bit and you adjust that kind of like the hue directional thing or whatever. I don't know the proper term, but it's just like the grid. And then you can pull or add in certain colors or whatever. That does work. So if you do notice that like it's too warm for your liking, you don't like the way it looks, that will work for you. And if that's what you're doing, kudos to you. Matter of fact, let's give it up for Code Deb. I'm glad we got the button and not any of the other buttons. We're running rogue over here. Say, Diana, I think I just answered my problem I have with audio. When I switch to my 5D Mark III, the audio will suddenly drop low. Yes. It's not that these cameras are bad. Quality-wise, the cameras are great. DSLR cameras or whatever. It's not the problem. That's not the issue. It's just all the other stuff you would need or want for video, unlimited recording, or no time limit, the clean preamps in the audio, all of that stuff. But yes, I had a friend, Anita specifically, we talked about just like, man, I'm having this issue. And I'm like, you're doing everything you're supposed to do. You don't need to buy anything else. That's just a bad preamp. A good microphone on a bad preamp is still going to sound not great. So that's it's not anything that you're doing. It's just the way it was. Saying, are the NPFW fit? Now, at least thank you for throwing some models out there. I know. Good gracious. Saying battery's good in the ZVE10. How long does it last for? So are they good? You're still going to get a shorter runtime. 1080p, 4K, it doesn't matter. These batteries are uber small compared to the FZ100 batteries. These batteries are only good for one thing: traveling and small and lightweight and portable. I don't ever use more than one other battery. I don't do this by 7 of them because you need to get through. I don't do that. That's dumb to me. And I mean, teach his own on what you want to do, but I don't live like that. I carry this, a USB battery charger with one extra battery and the one that's in the camera. When one's being used, the other one's charging. And if I need to while I'm traveling, I'm swapping them out. So one is always charging or charged already. And then I have one in the camera. I'm not carrying 73 little batteries. That's dumb to me. So are they good? They're going to last you about maybe 2 hours in 4K and some change, 2 hours and 30 minutes, maybe in 1080p, maybe. And that's like at the highest bit rates and all that stuff possible. So it's decent. It's enough to get you going, but it's not nothing to write home about. And like I said, the biggest benefit of them is small, lightweight, portable. But if you're indoors, use an AC power adapter. I use the Sony AC power adapter. These are not the FZ100 batteries. So it's not great and longevity you're not going to make through a full day recording. Don't do it. Just don't. Switch to an AC power adapter if you're indoors. And then if you're going out and about, get you one of these. About $7 online and it'll get you going. So yeah, don't waste your time with the rest of the stuff. My opinion, but that's all they're good for in my opinion. Saying thanks, Diana. I think you just, okay, I answered that one. Sorry. Saying I meant the audio output jack, not available on the ZV-1 for a cheap camcorder. So you can check your audio. I see what you're saying. A headphone port on the ZV-1, would it be nice? I think so. And I think I wouldn't disagree with that, because you need it. I'm not opposed to if it had to be. No, you know what? Okay, let me speak in English. I don't know if, based on the extra space at the bottom for where the battery is and all this extra other stuff, if they would be able to use certain areas or whatever. But if they made the camera a little bit taller so you could have a headphone port, that wouldn't be bad. I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. Actually, I think that's a fantastic idea, and that they should have had it. I wished it did. A lot of us, when we initially reviewed this camera, we said how we wished that it had a headphone port. And so for a camera like that, I think like the next iteration, that's my hope, they would, add on that headphone port. But I think any camera that's video focused of any kind, headphone port. The amount of times that you don't want to re-record a video because your audio gets messed up, or it wasn't all the way plugged in, maybe it accidentally got pulled out, whatever. It's a myriad of different little things, or just being able to check. Sometimes it's not anything that you do. It's just maybe one where you are and where you're located. I've done videos where if I didn't have something to check the audio from the camera I was using at the time that didn't have a headphone port, we would have had some high-pitched whine noise or some kind of interference that was cutting into the audio that you otherwise would not know if you didn't have a device to listen to the audio first. Sometimes that's an issue, and it just has nothing to do with you, the creator. It just is the space that you're in. Conferences and areas and stuff like that is a big one. Saying you need a man that thank you for your support. You wait, Craig, what? Speak English. Help me out now. Saying you man and thank you for your support. I'm confused. I know what I said, but I'm like confused on the statement. So clarify, brother. But good to see you. Glad you're here. What's up, India? Good to see you, saying yurt. How come all I heard was it sounds terrible? I don't know what you heard. I don't know what you heard, India. What did you hear? I don't know what you heard. So it just depends. Saying, what are we talking about? We're answering questions. So we've talked about POTS. We've talked about aging. We've talked about a lot of things here on the Friday Life Healthcast. So I don't know. Grow your side business, saying, hey, what's going on? Good to see you, brother. Glad that you are here. Love that picture. I just came across one of your videos not that long ago on Facebook, I think. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Clapping it up for 365 daily lives. Congrats to you. Got some lightning bolts in there. James D. Buzzard in the building. Good to see you. Glad that you're... Luis, this is a thunderstorm. I said lightning bolts, brother. Find the emoji. Find the emoji. Did you see that? Right there at the end. That's the lightning bolts. Luis got us going through a thundercloud storm over here. Saying, can you please say again what it is that you use to make those cool voices? Oh, that's just a Rodecaster Pro 2. It's not cool when it don't work the way. That's my niece. So my niece came over here, and it's like, so you have these buttons that you can press on the Rodecaster Pro. She made this show, her and my nephew, called Take It or Leave It. And so she also made some additional sound effects for their show called Take It or Leave It. And so they played on with the different sound effects. All that stuff comes baked into the Rodecaster Pro 2. So she had all these weird things, but it was funny. So that's one I keep on my board just because it's funny. And so, but yeah, you can do the voice changes with the Rodecaster Pro 2. That's just a button press. This is a button press. The audio's not actually messed up. That's just a beep button or whatever. This one, I don't know what that one does. Did I set it to anything? Okay, so that one is the Rodecaster audio thing, if you want to sound like whatever.
And then this one is one that she set my voice to when I was doing a test live stream, initially setting this up.
And I didn't know that these were built into the Rodecaster Pro 2 already. And so everybody was cracking up laughing in the chat. And I'm like, what are y'all I was setting up. She was the one that was doing the stream or whatever. So I'm like, what is so funny? I grabbed the headphones. I mean, she was cracking up laughing. And I'm like, what is going on? She was like, oh, nothing. Oh, nothing. It's nothing wrong, Auntie. Just keep doing what you're doing. Stay over there. And so you could hear my voice through all those filters or whatever. So that's just a Rodecaster Pro 2. It honestly is very fantastic. I have a weird fluke of a something where it's just some of the buttons triggered on their own sometimes. But that's not a normal thing. So that's a small issue that, unfortunately, I don't know why. It's been like that since day one. I just need to send it in. Saying Sony really needs to work on their model names. They absolutely do. They absolutely do. Thank you, Tatiana, for throwing that out there for Gretchen. Gretchen, we appreciate all the hard work that you've been doing. Congrats to you. Saying best budget cameras for video, Sony ZV-10, Fuji X S10. So the cool thing is, I'm not against the XS10. I actually really like Fuji. I really like Fuji. I just want them to sharpen up the accuracy of the autofocus. I want Nikon to do the same as well. Just so on those off instances, they're not bad. They're like 89%. And that's like where the autofocus is for Fuji's, like 89% out of 100. Sony's at like a 98% or 99%. Canon's like at a 97 on some of their cameras, 95 on some of their cameras, and on some of the cameras, 98. It's weird how they've done the phase detection autofocus on the newer models. It's been uneven results, but they're still way up there. I just want everybody to at least get into that 95, 96, 97% of the time, like universally, so it wouldn't matter autofocus wise. But imagine this whole live stream being done and freaking John Coltrane back there is the only person in focus. I'm sitting right here. What else are you looking at? You know what I'm saying? Like for the camera, it's like, what else would you focus on? Panasonic taking a nap with their depth from defocus system that we're looking into. Look harder. Buy glasses. Order them from free or to get something. You know, it's like, it's fine if the indie filmmaker community wants to do manual focus. May the Lord bless you and keep you always. And good luck to you. Who cares though? The camera still should have great autofocus. So in the event you want to use it, you can. Doesn't mean you have to. All cameras can manual focus. That's not special. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, we don't need autofocus. So let it have it. So the day you give it to a volunteer for them to record you and they don't know how to pull focus manually, or you don't have to waste your time trying to say, oh, let me make sure. Go stand right there. Okay, freeze and get a life. So it's cool. Best budget cameras. Fuji's cool. Fuji is cool. Saying, I'm going to hit 10,000K soon as Diana helped me start back in 29. All right, Rodecaster, don't mess this up. That's what I'm talking about. Let's throw some lightning bolts in the chat for grow yours. I love that, brother. I love to see it. I love to see it. I love to see it. That's amazing. That's a huge milestone. Let me know if you're doing like a stream to celebrate that so I can at least hop in the chat. So I want to be there to celebrate with you. That's a huge milestone. Congrats to you. But let me know if you're doing something for when you hit 10K or whatever. Let me know how I can help support you because that's huge. You are doing an amazing job. All right, Sen, love that. And a helium voice without the helium. It's funny. It's funny. So this is the other one. It's like if you're making an announcement.
This is why they wouldn't put me on for church announcements. I do this. And like, Pastor Wanda, please come to the meeting room B for your baptismal. Okay. Wait, I gotta turn it off.
Okay. That's why they wouldn't have me on church announcement, but come to meeting room. I wouldn't do right. I'm telling y'all right now, I wouldn't do right. Don't give me this in church. I'm definitely not doing right. We got announcements. Let me do them. Shoot. All right. Throw some chats in there for brother 10K. I'm pumped for you, man. I really, really am. Congrats to you. But yeah, you could have me do announcements. I wouldn't do right. Just had to laugh with that effect. I'm not trying to do
Like, this is just a funny effect already. So, my niece, again, had this effect on my voice, and I didn't know. So when I put it in my ears for the headphones, I'm like, I just started laughing. So, very funny indeed. So,
It just is crazy. It's so funny, but it's fun. That's the Rodecaster Pro. It's fun. It does its job. And this is what I'm going to be using, the fixed version, apparently. So I'm going to be using for the audiobook for my book. Hopefully not with the effects and the whatnot. I see we have no more questions in the chat, but yeah, the Rodecaster needs a little help. We got to I think I waited too long because I completely forgot about sending it in, honestly. Just because I don't use the voice effects or whatever. But now I got to get the audiobook. The last thing I want is to be...
Chapter 2. Here's what you need to know about... It's like chapter 2. It just make it
worse when I laugh. Oh my God. This is so stupid. Let me get off of this panel before I play. I'm playing too much. Y'all are silly. Saying I'm dying laughing. Listen, I'm telling you. Let me do church announcements one time, but they're going to kick me out. They're going to kick me out. And be like sitting in church.
Be like, bow your head for prayer. Oh Lord, is that you? Sister Sylvia, this is the Lord. This is not the Lord's voice. The whole church run out.
Everybody freaking out. Everybody freaking out at church. That's not, I would not do right. Would not do right. So what's up, Diana from Canada? Good to see you, Lifemaker 2003. Good to see you. And new here. Thanks for the video bank of helpful tricks. You are very welcome. Glad to be of service. And I do ask your questions. Okay, you got 2 quick ones. Go for it. Shoot for it. I will wait for you to ask your questions. No worries. But yeah, let me do baptismal service. I'm not going to do right. The Rodecaster Pro going to get me in trouble someplace. I already know it. Couldn't be an event host or an MC or something. I would be doing the most. I would be doing the most. That's why I just get paid to do the talks. Paid to do the talks, and then I go about my business because I wouldn't do right. Wouldn't do right. But Lifemaker 2003 will wait for your questions. If anybody else has questions before we wrap up for the stream, be sure to ask those whether you're watching this live on the replay. Thanks for being here. We're having a lot of fun this Friday Live Helpcast. All right. Let's see. Said I'm laughing so much I stopped working. Saying Diana, The Rock. That's how I'm gonna do the audiobook. It's like, wait, is it on?
Okay, now it's on. Be like, welcome to Diana's new book for Diana, The Rock. Glenn.
Okay.
Turn it off.
Okay, stop. Because that's what the problem. You hit the button, it didn't want to turn off. It's funny. It's funny acting. I said, OMG, these voice effects are one surefire way to get my students' attention. Let me tell you something.
Attention class. Keep playing.
That's all you got to say.
Just tell them, keep playing.
Keep playing with me. That's all you got to say. It'd be fun. I used to be class clown in school. Just would have fun. Go put the teacher's glasses on, all of that. So glad to see you back in the Friday hot seat answering all of our relevant or irrelevant questions, or what do you say irrelevant? Saying all of or relevant and all of the antics. I read that correctly that time. Always a pleasure to be here. Always a pleasure to be here. Saying, is there a way to change a voice different from the low menacing voice that is routinely used? And is there a way to export individual compound clips out of Final Cut Pro? So in Final Cut Pro, sometimes you're looking at compounding audio effects. If you're looking to so you just heard me play all these crazy voice effects with the Rodecaster Pro 2. Let's say you're adding stuff on. I like to do that sometimes if it's a question that somebody, not even a question that somebody asks, it's usually let's say the they says of the world. It's like, well, they say you shouldn't do whatever. I'll add on like a Mickey Mouse voice for that. Or let's say I'm recording a regular video and I do want to add in that crazy, whatever, demon voice effect on, but I don't want to ruin my regular audio just in case. What you would do, you can add on the certain effect, but then I'll add on another effect and just kind of layer them and do a pitch changer. There have been certain ads that I've done edits for, or I'm doing a reading for like an ad or something like that. And it just depends. Or I'm doing an announcement or something. I'm not going to go to Fiverr and hire somebody, even though it's only like $5, maybe $10 for them to say, coming to a theater near you. I'm going to do it myself. So I'm going to play around with the voice, or it's like audio jungle. If I'm going to do that sound effects or whatever and just play on something, you layer them in Final Cut Pro. So you may add on the effect and then you add on the pitch changer. If you click, sometimes if you see like the little menu icon on that effect, you click on that, it expands the options and then you can kind of play around with it. Even sometimes adjusting a little bit with the EQ. You actually have way more audio controls than you might think or initially see in Final Cut Pro. But what I found to work best in my experience is if it's not a specific plugin that maybe you buy for Final Cut that's doing what you want it to do already, then you're layering effects to maybe the specific effect that you want, and then you're adding on a pitch changer, and then you're altering the pitch based on that to give you that effect. Because I've done, like I said, I've done ads, and people would be like, "Who did that voice?" And I'm like, "That was me." And they're like, "Shut up! No, it's not." And I'm like, "Yes, it is." They'd be like, "But it's like somebody with an English accent." Be like, "I know, audio jungle." It's like, it's not. We didn't hire anybody for that. It's like, that's me. It just alter my voice. So you can do a lot of cool things with that. It's just layering the effects. Your other half of your question, is there a way to export individual compound clips out of Final Cut Pro? Yes, and I don't remember what that is. My buddy Jared Spink, Jared Spink, he also does the Hive podcast. His YouTube channel, I think he has the tutorial on how to do, I think, just the specific compound clips. Either him or I think it's Ripple Training, RIPPLE, Ripple Training. They have a ton of Final Cut Pro, and then just some of those other not Final Cut, but Apple specific programs. But they have a ton of those. So if Jared doesn't have that specific tutorial that I'm thinking, I think he does, then Ripple Training probably has that. You just go to their channel. On desktop, it's easier. Search the little search bar on the channel, and then it'll pull it up for that. But that's what I recommend. So do you ever use the ZVE 10 or just for taking pictures? I can't seem to get clear pictures with it. I take all my thumbnails with it. Yeah, take all my thumbnails with it. I've taken family photos with it. I've taken I've even taken like some event photos. Yeah, I took event photos with it for Ray at, what was it? It's a couple months ago. Doc and I were out in Spokane, Washington. For those of you that watch the vlog channel, if you saw those vlogs, we taking photos for that. Yeah, it's great for that. The thing is, depending on the environment that you're in, and this is for any camera, my photo-based settings are always going to be based on what I'm trying to do. It's never, even my video settings is based on what I'm currently doing, and I'll alter the memory recall in photo settings, because you have a memory recall set you can use for video, you have a memory recall set you can use for photos, and you have a memory recall set that you can use for the S&Q, or the slow and quick mode. So when I took pictures of my nephew's graduation, I did shoot that on primarily the A7 IV, but it's the same. It would be the same setup. I literally used the exact same system. I just was testing that camera, and I also bring that camera just to swap it out. And I did this on the Social Media Marketing World 2021 when I spoke there. Oh no, was it? No, not 21. Dang, the year's gone by quick. 2022. So earlier this year, when I was spoke at Social Media Marketing World in March, then I took pictures using the ZVE 10. All you're doing is setting, like, what are you commonly using? What do you need access to the most? And you set your memory recall settings based on that. Now, if you're saying that you can't seem to get clear pictures, number one, I would just say just make sure your sensor doesn't have a smudge or sticky fingers if you got little kids around or something. Kids are maniacal, man. Just be careful about that. Make sure your lens is clean. If that basic stuff is together, Do you have your photo quality up? Do you have that up, or do you have it set pretty low? The kind of lens, even on I've taken some really sharp pictures, even surprisingly with the kit lens. So the lens will help and it will matter when you come to like sharpness, but you can't not get, that's bad English. Just because you use kit lens doesn't mean you're not going to get poor photo qualities. You know, are you going to get the sharpest? No, but it's not going to be bad. But you can take some great photos with the camera. I do that a lot. Product shots and stuff. You can do a lot of great photos with it. My new headshots that I got to take, it's going to be shot on the ZV-10. Why not? It's a great camera. You can use it for photos. You probably just need to dial in your photo settings. I don't cover photos at all on the channel, but it's a lot of creators that have photo-based stuff. But yeah, that's what I would suggest. All right, so let's see here. Mr. Camera Junk saying, the mom from Malcolm in the Middle. That was a good show. Such freaking Malcolm in the Middle. That was awesome. I love that show. Saying, thanks very much. I love this Friday live thing. First time for me, not the last. Well, I am glad that you enjoyed. Yeah, every Friday, 11:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. Friday live helpcast, and select with the range tool, Final Cut Pro. But here's the thing. That video is already on the channel. How to just specifically export. He said the compound clips. So it may be like a multi-select. And I know I watched this tutorial already. If it wasn't on Jared's channel, it must have been on Ripple Studio, because sometimes you do want to mass export without doing the range selection. And I do believe there's a way. I just don't remember what it is. But yeah, you can do the range thing, but test that out. But that video on selecting like the in and out point of a specific video on Final Cut Pro, that's available on the channel. Just search Final Cut Pro or look at the editing tutorials. Thanks. I built my new video editing system while being here. That's amazing. LV Collier, I appreciate that. But guess what? We ain't going to be here no more, because we finna go home. We have hit all of the questions in the chat, the comments, and all that. And I'm not answering no more questions, because the last time I said we was finna say goodbye, I said all of my end of the stream things, and it's like, well, I got a question. No, wait till next week. Guys, we have wrapped up another successful Friday live helpcast. Whether you're watching this live or on the replay, thanks for being here. We appreciate you for joining in on the stream and the fun. Christmas is upon us. Get your holiday list for elderly people. Hashtag Alexa for seniors, all of us. Shoot, what are your adult gift items? We'll be coming back next week. Got some more holiday stuff we're going to be covering, keeping up with the holiday deals for Thanksgiving and the like, or the after Thanksgiving Day sale. So we will still be here on Friday. So rub your bellies full of good turkey meat, and I will see y'all on the next stream. Peace.